In the first phase, I spent about 15 years growing up in the hills of Darjeeling. The second phase, for about 18 years, I was working in the city. Third phase, which is an ongoing phase right now, I'm here building a forest in TD. Let's say living in a forest like this is the fact that you don't have to think before you breathe. You don't have to think before you drink, and you don't have to think before you eat. जहाँ से दुनिया दिखती नया छाँव है या हर तरफ शुद्ध हवा शुद्ध सोच आओ मेरे साथ TD Forest के पास Cause they say take it easy, cause easy does it. They say take it easy, cause easy does it. They say take it easy, cause easy does it. We were somehow connected to Mother Nature, be it while playing outdoors or be it with regards to the activities that we did. It's quite difficult to recall many moments that were indoors because I guess most of the childhood that we spent was playing with friends outside, in climbing trees, or it was in playing in the rivers. While growing up here, there was this constant desire, I think it is of anyone who is growing up in a small town, to go and explore the world outside. It is also to do with lack of opportunities here that you tend to aspire to go out and explore various possibilities. And so that was one thing that made me also aspire to go out, explore the world of higher education outside, and also maybe take up a job. For a mountain lad to go to a city, I think there are two things that happen. One is you get enamored with the world outside of a lot of possibilities, but it also shocks you. Because I think people in the mountains are still naive in a lot of sense. And going to Delhi, a couple of things that happen to you is you have to be angry to survive. That's something that you kind of imbibe. While I struggled with some of these emotions, I also realized that the world of education is not what I thought it to be. So at the age of 18 is when I decided to quit college. And I started working. So India, that time, I'm talking about the early 2000s, where India was booming with regards to the call center. And of course, just like the youth of my era, I also had my initial initiation of the corporate work in a call center. So there, I used to draw a salary of 6,000 rupees. After getting initiated in the corporate work culture in a call center, I happened to move down to Hyderabad. And I worked in a BPO that was with online gaming. So after working in the online gaming sector for a few years, my last stint in the corporate world was with EduTech firm, and my last drawn salary was around 24 lakh annually. One very interesting learning for me has been, how do you define what's a net worth? I don't think CTC or a take-home actually defines a net worth, because there are factors that we do not really account for. So while living in the city, you have so much that the city can offer to you. Way too many options that is degenerative to your mind and your body. And there are very few options that's actually regenerative to your mind and body. I went into a degenerative spiral where routine that followed was live those 5 days working and then live the other 2 days, forget how you were working. Of course, I was climbing the so-called ladder of success, but just that I realized that my ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. The first thing that I did was not to quit, because I think way too many times it is romanticized that you just walk off one day into the sunset and then you find your calling. I don't think it is that way. You need to plan it out, and especially from the financial side of it. You need to do the boring stuff first for you to be able to get the interesting stuff to come to you later. My relationship with money was quite interesting. In fact, what happened was we had this corporate rewards and recognition system. I happened to win that award twice, which entailed that from being non-taxable, I was suddenly taxable, and it was for me a huge amount. And then realizing that a big chunk of your amount is going for taxes and there are ways that you could save it. So then I went ahead and made the mistake that most of us do. I took up a ULIP plan. So in that, I would say more than 50% went into all of the charges that was mentioned there. But it was a good wake-up call for me, because that made me realize that you have to be cognizant about not just how you earn money, but how you make money earn for you. So that started my journey into financial planning and the world of investing into mutual funds, insurance, stock market, and all of that. I knew at some point of time I would take that leap of faith to do something on my own. So I started pushing more of my salary towards investment. At one point of time, I would say about 75% of my salary was invested either into liquid funds or into long-term investment. How I did it differently was that I increased my assets and I cut down my liabilities. I saw my friends taking loan, and some of them taking loan for over 10 years to buy a car, a very fancy sedan. And when I realized that car was a utility for me, and a very short time till the time that I was in the city, I bought a Nano. I had a brilliant time zipping around in the city, buying that Nano, and I happened to go into a Nano showroom, swipe my credit card, and drive back home with the car. So for me, I was very clear in my head that I'm going to build assets, and that asset is going to give me returns. And of course, there was also the asset for the mind that I was building, which was investing into development. So either through workshops or courses. So I took up mountaineering. I did my permaculture course. Most importantly, I think my best investment was into travel. There were times that I took a sabbatical from work for over 5 months at an end, and I traveled across the Himalayas, starting from Kashmir down to Nepal. I went on a trekathon. I did that alone. I'd saved for it. And probably that was one of my best investment, because I think the genesis of TD was during one of those travels where your mind opens up to the possibilities of living the alternate life and coming out of the romanticism of it and actually experiencing it in bits and pieces. When I moved from the city, it was with a kitty of about 20 lakh rupees, with which I started it as a seed fund. If I have to give a distribution, I think about 75% of the corpus that I had created was through the sale of the house. Around 25% of the corpus that I created was the investments that I'd done in other financial instruments like mutual funds, bonds, and to some extent insurance too. It happened as such that while doing the permaculture course, I got to know that my family had this land here. It had been, I would say, for lack of a better word, been molested for over a couple of decades. This place we got to know was the unofficial dump yard for the community and also for the nearby municipality. We got to know that when the municipality did not have any space to dump the waste that got generated, the waste was brought here, it was dumped, and at times even burnt. But I decided to take up the challenge because I wanted not just something creative to do, but something that was challenging. I think that was the mindset with which I approached this particular project. When I first stepped foot on this land, it looked green. It looked just like any other forest. It's just that there were very few mature trees around. There was a ground cover which meant that it looked green from the bottom also. But I realized that there had been a lot of deforestation that has happened here. But it is only once we started clearing the undergrowth to clear the pathway is when we realized that there is waste underneath. We didn't know how much waste it is there because one shampoo packet came out, one water bottle came out, one Maggi or a YY packet came out. It's been 10 years and we're still cleaning. We've literally unearthed more than 30,000 sacks of plastic, but it's still coming out. And then we started planting trees on the areas that we had restored. So right now, this place boasts more than 600 adolescent trees, apart from probably about 100 mature trees that's there around. So when we started the journey of regenerating the land, I realized that the savings would run out very soon. And we need to have a very strong income source. And because we were in Darjeeling, a tourism hotspot, we identified tourism as the lower hanging fruit. So we thought, why don't we bring tourists here to be part of this project and experience what we are doing, and also get to stay in a place that defined Darjeeling. So we built our first mud house in a very rudimentary way. So I knew none of this. So we went down and we plonked bamboo on the ground, we took mud, we started plastering, we did the water linda, we got straw. The whole idea of like a house that is made of mud and bamboo and has a straw at the top to hold off the rain. And again, at that point of time, what really mattered for us is not whether we did it right, but it's just that whether we just did it or not. We did not spend a lot of time in self-doubt. We knew that we did not know anything in terms of natural building, but we knew that along the course we would know. Some of these experiments would be expensive. So the first hut, which probably would have cost us, now if we build it, not more than a couple of lakhs. We must have burnt around 6 to 7 lakhs to make that particular hut, because we experimented, we failed, we experimented, we failed. The beautiful part of it was it gave a lot of joy to people. And when everyone else was walking in the direction of building a homestay, we discovered a new niche where we built a forest stay. When we started letting out the hut, which I think we had initially let it out for 5,000 a night, the whole cottage, you of course get supported by your friends, right? So your friends come in, they book, and you're like, okay, let's experience that. And the earnings were, I would say, initially the few months was like 30,000, 40,000 rupees a month. And slowly, once bookings started coming in, 50,000 rupees a month. After 2017 is when we built the TD air dwelling, which is another couple of cottages. Then we also built the forest dwelling, which is a dormitory. And we not just started hosting travelers, but we also started hosting volunteers. So over the course of the last 10 years, we've had volunteers from over 50 countries who've come in here and contributed towards the cause. So today, TD supports more than 30 families directly who come and work here. So that would entail probably our monthly outflow from all the activities that we do, including salaries, would mean that over 5 lakh rupees per month. And also the income that is coming in is not something that is sufficient for us to kind of meet all the expenses, because a lot of the work is social impact work. So this gap that we have is filled in with CSR funding and grants through which we execute some of the social impact projects. But the goal is to ensure that each one of these projects becomes financially self-sustainable on its own. And I really started questioning this whole aspect of what should be a salary. So I am part of this organization that I lead. Okay, I also draw a salary. But right now I'm comfortable drawing a salary that probably is like 15% of what I was drawing last when I was in the city. Because my expenses that is there has come down by probably about 80%. The assets that is being created here is not degenerative, but it is regenerative. It is adding to not just my idea of wealth, but it is adding to the idea of wealth for the community and the idea of wealth for Mother Nature. I think the biggest factor that we should consider is life happens while you're busy planning out your life. Most of the times we think that what if we plan it out, we do this and we do that. Now that is not to say that you don't plan, because that is still step one. And without that step one, step two doesn't come. You still plan, but then there would be moments when you realize that life took its own course. So each one of us are blessed with a journey that is meant to create something beautiful in this lifetime. We should continue that journey.
Hey, if you think you resonate with these stories and you think you have one worth sharing too, then please fill in the form in the pinned comments below and you can get featured on Wint Wealth.